Today we are going to start the study of part third. This is the first poem that is composed by W. Yeats, an Irish poet. He was born in 1865 and he died in 1939 while the war was going on. No, Second World War was going on. He was a poet, nationalist poet of his country, important poet of the 20th century. He was born in Dublin, educated there, and in the highest of his academic career or poetic career, he received the Nobel Prize. That is considered to be the biggest prize, biggest honor for a poet. He has written different poems. The poems mainly related with culture, civilization of his country, tradition, customs, national feeling, national movement for freedom, and finally about humanity. He was the important member of the freedom movement, and after the independence of his country, Ireland, he was also elected the senator. On the capacity of senator, once he had visited one convent school, a missionary school, and on that visit, he has composed his poem among school children. While he went there as a senator, he was a respected member in the society because he was the senator. So that's why he was led to the classrooms where he can visit, where he can converse with the students there. It seems that it is a missionary school because he was received by a nun there. So now we start the poem here. Among the school children, as a senator, he visited there and he was welcomed. He was received warmly. And the lines. This poem has been divided into different stanzas. It has 8 stanzas. Each stanza tells a different story. But serially, he has concluded his ideas in this poem. I walked through the long school's room questioning. A kind old nun in a white hood replies. The children learn to cipher and sing, to study reading books and histories, to cut and sew, be neat in everything. In the best modern way, the children's eyes in momentary wonder stare upon a 60-year-old smiling public man. The very first stanza of the poem describes the purpose of his visit, that he was a senator, and as a senator he visited that school and he made few students there. He was warmly welcomed. A nun, she might be a teacher, because in missionary schools mostly nuns are there to teach the students, to take care of the students. So she welcomed him and she invited him to visit the classroom. So while he went there, he was questioning the students, talking with them, their experiences, their problems, and he was enjoying there. The nun invited him to the classroom and also informed him that these students, the children, are allowed to study and they are also allowed to study singing, music classes are given them. They also study how to cut and sew. It means some professionals silai and kalai. Yes, it means some professional artisan. They are also being made. They are provided some opportunity to tailoring. But and be neat in everything. They are also taught how to live properly, how to be neat and clean. It means they are also aware about the cleanliness. So this all was informed by the nun, the teacher there, to the poet, a senator at that time. In the best modern way, the children's eyes in momentary. What does mean? Because he was an old man, about 60 years old. So students were inquisitive that why an old person like him is visiting his school. So they were inquisitive. The next stanza describes now it is a flight from the present to the past. It seems that this is an autobiographical element there in the poem. Autobiographical element means he himself has experienced in his life. So he was, the line says, in momentary wonder stare upon a 60-year-old smiling public man. While as a senator, the poet was visiting the school, the nun was explaining all the things that these students are taught how to be clean, how to excel in their life, singing and dancing, tailoring, all these crafts and art. But at the same time, the students were inquisitive. What about? That why this old man was visiting his school? What is the purpose? Because it is quite clear that they might not feel friendliness with such an old person. So they were astonished at what was the purpose behind the visit of this person. Although it is quite clear that the students were known to this person because he was a VIP, he was a senator, he was a renowned poet at that time. So they were able to know him, but they were astonished at the same time that why this person, an old man, was visiting these small children. The second stanza is a flight from present to past. While he was visiting the school, meeting the students, talking to them and their teachers, suddenly something recalled in his mind. Some recollections came into his mind, and he started thinking about his past. What past? I dream of a Lydian body bent above a sinking fire, a tale that she told of a harsh reproof or trivial event that changed some childish day to tragedy, told, and it seemed that our two natures blend into a sphere from youthful sympathy, or else to alter Plato's parable into the yolk and the white of one sail. While he was at the school visiting the classrooms, meeting the children, talking with the teachers, fancying something about them, suddenly something struck in his mind and he went back in his life. He recollected the life of his beloved Mudgone, and he imagined that Mudgone was a very beautiful girl. She might be a beautiful girl at that time while she was a child. And he recollected all this. He also recollected that once his beloved Mudgone has shared that some days he was feeling not good because he might be chided by the teachers for some mistakes that she might have committed in the school. So he recollects this incident of his beloved Mudgone at her childhood, that she was unhappy in the school because she was scolded by some teachers due to some wrongs that she has done. So suddenly he recollects this incident and also was compelled to think that how is the relation of a young person, that he was quite unhappy after listening this episode of the life of his beloved Mudgone, while he was told, and seemed what he felt, that our youthful sympathy, he quite felt sympathetic towards his beloved Mudgone. That's what problem she has created in the school and how her whole day was destroyed due to this incident. He felt quite sympathetic towards her. Rather, he was also unhappy with her and little bit angry. And he also thinks about the famous philosopher Plato, that he has expounded that actually God has created the same human, not man or women, but after something happened, that it was divided between man and women, because they were supposed to be part of a single personality. That's why it is quite natural that a man and women try their ways to be single parts. So that may be the reason behind the attraction towards man to women or to women from man. So they are attracted, just like we can see the egg where there are two different parts, the yellow part and the white part, but still they are united. The third stanza talks about the same incident further, and but this leads to the philosophical stage. And thinking of that fit of grief or rage, I look upon one child or the other there, and wonder if she stood so at that age, for even daughters of the swan can share something of every peddler's heritage, and had that color upon cheek or hair, and thereupon my heart is driven wild. She stands before me as a living child. Now, this is the pendulum situation of the author. While he was in the classroom talking to the teachers, watching the students' activities, he went back, he flashed back, and he started thinking about his beloved Mudgone, and also her past, her childhood story, that once she shared the incident that we have discussed here. While he was thinking and raged, because he was also angry with the behavior of the teacher that he has chided his beloved at that time. And thinking all that, suddenly he noticed students, particularly one student attracted his attention because he was very similar to his beloved at childhood. She was quite resembling face with that of his beloved Mudgone, and she attracted him, and she was stood there. While he was watching the children, while he was watching one particular girl who was quite similar to the face of his beloved Mudgone, suddenly he thought that his beloved was standing there. The childhood picture of his beloved appeared in his mind, and he thought that just like this girl, my beloved Mudgone might be standing at that school that she has shared that experience. So even he was surprised that such a soft girl, she was chided, scolded by her teachers, and her face, the color of face might have been changed because she was unhappy. She felt uncomfortable there. So therefore, the author was also angry. Author was also feeling anguish due to the problem caused to his beloved Mudgone. But at the same time, he was watching that girl that was very similar to his beloved Mudgone, and he also imagined that his beloved Mudgone in her childhood, she might be standing just like this girl, that she was standing in the classroom and watching intently on him. So now in the next stanza, stanza 4, there are different experience, different opinions that this incident of present and past, he was completely engrossed, and now he started thinking about his beloved Although he was present in the school, but mentally he was absent from a school and started thinking about his past life, the relationship with his beloved, the childhood experiences of his beloved, and he compared this scene that of his present age, that what is the condition today. Her present image floats into the mind. While he was at the school, the picture of his beloved started floating in his mind, and he was able to envision his beloved Mudgone, the present age, the present situation of his beloved. Floats into the mind, did quattrocento finger fashion it, hollow of cheek as though it drank the wind, and took a maze of shadows for its meat, and I though never of leaden kind, had pretty plumage once, enough of that. Better to a smile on that smile and slow. There is a comfortable kind of old a scarecrow. So now he is comparing, yes. Actually, this is a reference of mythology. The great pen. Yes, I am discussing it. I will discuss it. So actually, now what the author is thinking, the poet is thinking about the present age. That once his beloved was very beautiful, very soft at her childhood. He was really attracted towards her beauty. But what is the fact today? Now everything has changed. What is the problem? Please switch off the mic, please. So actually, what happened? Now he is comparing the soft, beautiful face of his beloved from her childhood to the present age. Now, what is the difference? Everything is changed. She was very beautiful, very soft at her childhood, but now she is not like that. Now she is completely changed. At that time, she seemed just like a painting created by a painter, no? Quattrocento. Quattrocento is a painter, so that's why he has been referred here that he used to create beautiful pictures. So at that time, his beloved was just like a painting created by that painter in that time. No, but now everything is changed. What is the change? So the three stanza discusses about the beautiful face of his beloved Mudgone. That once she was a very beautiful girl. She was just like a painting created by this painter, the ancient painter Quattrocento. So she was just a soft girl. But what happened in the present time? She was completely changed. She was changed from good to worse, no, worse to worst. So now they are old people. The poet himself is 60 years old. So likewise, his beloved might be an old lady. So hollow of cheek as though it drank the wind. Now the wrinkled face, hollowed cheeks, loose skin. So now these are the features of the old age. That his wife, that once, sorry, wife not, his beloved Mudgone, once she was a beautiful girl in her childhood. Now she has completely changed. Now she is an old woman. She has wrinkled face, white hairs, and everything changed. The loose skin, wrinkled skin. It means the beauty has disappeared and took a maze of shadow off for its meat. Now the flesh, once it were tight, it were glittering. So now it has wrinkled skin, loose skin, not favorable to see it. So, and though I never of Lydian kind is just a reference, no? Leda was a daughter, Helen was the daughter of Leda. So this is the mythological reference. He was not like a Leda. He was not so handsome, but the girl was very handsome, very beautiful. He was also handsome, but now everything is changed. Now he is an old man. So there is no matter how he was in the past. But the fact is that he is not good today. He is not handsome today. She was also not beautiful today. She is an old lady. Beauty has disappeared. Had pretty plumage once enough of that? It seems that he might be repenting that once he was handsome, no doubt, but now everything disappeared. So he just once that was just a feather, beautiful feather once he had, but now everything uh, went away. Now he is an old man. Enough of that. Better to smile on all that, smile and so. So now what is there left in the life? He is an old man. Nothing good there. He has lost his eyesight. He might have lost his taste. So now he can just smile and show that once he was handsome, once mud gone, his beloved was very beautiful, but now everything is lost there. So the fact is that now he is an ugly face. There, there's a comfortable kind of old a scarecrow. A scarecrow. What do you mean by a scarecrow? Wrinkled face, loose skin, very lean and thin. It is just like an effigy, no, just like an portrait that is used in the fields to scare the crows, no, birds, so that they may not harm the crops there. So this is just like a picture, no, lean and thin, very ugly face. Now all the handsomeness went away. So this is the present and the fact. Now the further he discusses what youthful mother, a shape upon her lap, honey of generation had betrayed, and that must sleep, shriek, struggle to escape, as recollection of the drug decide, would think her son, did she but see that shape with 60 or more winters on its head, a compensation for the pang of his birth or the uncertainty of his setting forth. So now he came to the philosophical level. He started thinking from that school child, school girl, thinking about his past experiences, his past life, the relationship with his beloved mud gone. And now further he thinks about the philosophy, that what happens with a mother, what may be the feelings of a mother when he when she gives birth to a child. No, what happens? Everything is changed. A lady might be beautiful in her youth age, but when she gives birth to a child, even her beauty disappears. Even she is deformed. No, bodily deformation is there when she gives birth to a child. And what does she thinks about her life, that once she was beautiful and she sacrificed her beauty due to the child she bears? Honey of generation had betrayed, but it is the also fact that the new generation usually betrays the mothers. That mother has taken so much pain to give birth to a child, but children, they used to forget the pain of their mother and they used to betray their mothers. And that must sleep, shriek, struggle to escape. He has discussed the experiences of a mother while she gives birth to a child. What does she feel? She feels pain. She shrieks. Shriek means she cries, she weeps. She is not in a situation to tolerate the pain when she is hospitalized, when she is operated. No? It is said that after giving birth to a child, a mother is also takes birth. It means now this is the regeneration of a mother. There is chance that a mother may die while giving the birth of a child. So she wanted to escape this pain. She wanted to uh, uh, not feel this pain, but she is compelled because it is quite linked with her life, that if she has to give birth to a child, she might have to feel this problem, feel this pain also. Would think her son did see, but see that shape. Now he discusses that what does a mother think about her child, the infant. After seeing the infant, every mother becomes very happy. No? She has delivered the child. But what she would think about the thinking that this child that is there in her lap is just a small infant, very fair color, very enchanting eyes. But after 60 winters passed, it means when the child becomes old, it is quite different. No? It is completely changed. Even the mother could not identify that this was her child once in her lap. It was just a small infant. Now everything is changed, and now he is an old man. Or the uncertainty of his setting forth, and nothing is clear and nothing is there in her control. She cannot control this aging. Aging means that it is the certain, it is the fact that one who has taken birth on the earth, it will grow old. Even an infant just once used to be in the lap of his mother or her mother, it becomes also old, and everything is changed. So now he was pondering over the problem of aging, that an infant starts his journey from the lap of his mother and becomes very old at the age of 60 or 65 years. Completely changed. Mother cannot imagine the change. Next, on the level of philosophy, further he expounds. Plato thought nature but a spume that plays upon a ghostly paradigm of things. Shoulder Aristotle plays the toss upon the bottom of a king of kings, world famous golden thighed Pythagoras, fingered upon a fiddle, a stick, or a string. What a star sang and careless muses heard, old cloths upon old sticks to scare a word. Further, philosophically, he thinks about, given his philosophy, their philosophies about the nature and human civilization. There may be one is there Plato, though nature but a spume that plays upon a ghostly paradigm of things. So now he refers a great philosopher named Plato, the philosophy of Plato. What was the philosophy of Plato? What does he think about this old age? That he thinks that this world is the imitation of human ideas. Whatever the human thinks about, he creates the thing. No? So in that way, the world is the imitation of the creation of human being. So whatever is going on in the mind of human, he used to exercise his mind and create that thing. No? So in that way, the buses, the aeroplane, the train, these all have been invented by the human ideas. And the human ideas have completely changed this world. So what about the thinking of Aristotle? Aristotle was the great philosopher. He was also the teacher of Alexander the Great. I think you all know about Alexander the Great, that we call in Hindi Sikandar. Sikandar, the victorious king in the world, who wanted to win the whole world. He wanted to control the whole world. He was the disciple of the philosopher Aristotle. So, as a teacher, he might have punished. No, as a teacher, he might have exercised his power on his disciple Sikandar, Alexander the Great. Even he might have beaten him as a teacher, and even that child, after becoming young, he went on to win the countries after countries. Even he came to the border of India, no? And he occupied different countries. Imagine a philosopher who has created such a disciple like Alexander, who wanted to win the whole world, and he was winning one after another country. Such a philosopher was uh, Aristotle. The next is upon the bottom of a king of kings. He was talking about the power of Alexander the Great. that he was created by his master, Aristotle, the philosopher, no? That he has occupied so many kings in his life, and he was a youth person. World famous golden thigh Pythagoras. He also talks about the power of Pythagoras, a great scientist, a great philosopher, fingered upon a fiddle stick on a strings. He was in a position to change different things. What a star sang and careless muses heard. So these were the philosophers. Those were very powerful. Those were in a position to change the path of the world. But what happened? Nothing was controlled by them. Even they have to lose their power. And at last they become old also. Once very powerful, very famous in the world. But at last what happened? They also lost. They also lost their glory. And at last they became old, very old, and even left this world. Old cloth upon old sticks to scare a world. And what happened to them? These were the philosophers. They were not the simple men and women, but still they were powerful, but they had to surrender in the life. At last they died. They became old, just like a scarecrow. So, what is the meaning of the stanza? The meaning is quite clear that W. these things here, even the philosopher, once very powerful, very famous, even they cannot control their aging. They can't control that they would not be old in their life. They would be old and they will die also. This is the fact. So this is the reality about the aging process. So now he is in a condition to realize this, that old age, oldhood cannot be forbidden. It cannot be stopped. It is not under the control of even a philosopher like Aristotle or Plato and scientists like Pythagoras. So nobody can stop it for a while. So now further he elaborates his ideas about this aging process. He has referred different things to explain his ideas. Both nuns and mothers worship images, but those the candles light are not as those that animate a mother's reveries, but keep a marble or a bronze repose, and yet they took break hearts, O presences, that passion, piety, or affection knows, and that all heavenly glory symbolize, O self-born mockers of man's enterprise. So further he elaborates his idea in this stanza number, that now he has referred about the nuns and the mothers. He has also discussed about the nun who was the teacher in that school where he has started this thinking of the poem. No? So now elaborately he is discussing about the role of mothers and the role of nuns. Nuns means the priestess, the lady priest that serves in the church or in the temple. What does she do? She worships the God image. No? Both nuns and mothers worship images. Images means idols, idols of God or deity. They used to worship in the temple, they used to worship in the church, both the mothers and the nun, the priestess. But what is the result of that worship? Can they stop the aging process? Is it possible? But those the candles light are not as those. Even they worship the God for a long time, but still they are not in a position to stop this process of aging. That animate a mother's reveries. What does a mother think? She always thinks that her child may live long and he may not be old in his life. But can she stop it? Can she redirect it? That the children produced by the mother, they will not be old, they will not grow old. It is not possible. Even a mother, even a worshipper like a nun cannot stop the process of aging, but keep a marble or a bronze repose. No, even they can worship the God in the form of idol or portrait or picture, but they are not in a position to stop this. It means even worshipping so many years would not stop this oldhood or weighing old. And yet they took break hearts, O presences that passion, piety, or affection knows, and that all heavenly glory impossible, O self-born mockers of a man's enterprise. Now, after so much effort by a mother, by a nun, they are not in a position to stop this process of aging. Even these mothers are betrayed. Na? We have also discussed in the stanza 5 that the mothers, they used to feel so much pain and anguish. Na? They undergone, they have to undergo a very painful situation while delivering a child's birth. But still the children used to betray them. They are betrayed. Nobody takes care of them, as they have felt the pain for the delivery of child. The children never feel pain for their mothers, but even they cannot change. They are helpless. So further he has discussed here that even after worshipping the God for a long time, there is no change. There is nothing that can stop for a while the process of aging. These heavenly glories symbolize, it becomes meaningless. This becomes mockers, that you are worshipping the God for a long time, but still God is not in a position to stop this aging process. Everybody thinks he should not be old, he should always be young in his life, but it is not fact. It is the fact that one who takes birth in this life, in this world, he has to be an old man. He has to grow old. Nothing can forbid, nothing can stop this process of aging. So in this last stanza, he has concluded his ideas that where one fact is that one cannot stop the process of aging, then what should we do now? What is there to do in our hands, in our controls? So now he has devised the idea that how to be happy. Why not should be distressed about thinking that the person is becoming old and meaningless. Labor is blossoming or dancing where the body is not bruised to pleasure soul, nor beauty born out of its own despair, nor blear-eyed wisdom out of midnight oil. O chestnut tree, great-rooted blossomer, are you the leaf, the blossom, or the bowl? O body swayed of music, O brightening glance, how can we know the dancer from the dance? Now, in the 3 lines of this last stanza, concluding a stanza, he came to the conclusion that what is life? What is the meaning of this life? That one takes birth in this earth. He has to be an old. Nobody can stop it. No medicine, nothing is the discovery that can forbid the process of aging. So how one person has to be happy in his life, even knowing the fact that he will have to be an old person in his life and die at last. So labor, now he is talking about the labor. So there is labor in the life delivery. A mother feels labor. Labor means, now this is the time of delivery. When a mother gives birth to a child, she faces so many problems. Even she faces pain. She has to undergo treatment, operation, cesarean. It means very difficult thing it is to give birth to a child, to blossom. But what is the result? Even after facing so much pain, she becomes very happy after seeing the result that the child is born, and seeing the beautiful faces of child, infant, in her lap, she becomes happy. In the same way, dancing, as we enjoy dancing, we are very happy to see dancing, but how it is created? It takes so much pain to prepare this dancing, na? To practice so many days, so many months or years. One has to take guidance from a professional teacher. No? One has to go to the classes of dancing. Nobody knows the pain behind this. But when he dances, he performs on the stage, everybody claps, everybody becomes ecstatic, very happy to see the dancing. But nobody wanted to know it, the fact that how much pain he might have felt to prepare to practice such dance. The body is not bruised to pleasure soul. Body is bruised. In which way? A mother, while she gives birth, she is bruised. Bruised means heavily tortured. No? She is tortured. Bodily she is tortured. She feels the pain. Even she may die while delivering a child. It is the fact. But at the same time, it is the matter of pleasure after giving a birth of child. No? So the intention of facing this torture of body, it means bodily torture, it is not to please the soul. There is something that is owed. No? That after taking the result, the fruits of the pain, one becomes very happy. Nor beauty born out of its own despair. Beauty is born. No? One becomes very beautiful. But at last it loses its beauty, and at last it is rise. Even the knowledge, how knowledge is created. The knowledge is created by midnight whiles. What does it mean? It is a reference that one has to study hard, even in the late night. In that way, knowledge is created. It is very painful. No? Rachnath can realize that one has to do different things to study. No? He has to face different problems in his life. It is very difficult task to be alert, to be awakened in the night and study up to the whole night, midnight. It is very difficult task. That the person is very happy to see a knowledgeable person, but nobody knows that how he has become so knowledgeable, how much studies he has done in his life. Nobody has observed him reading at the late night, but the knowledge, everybody knows it and everybody appreciates it. But this is the fact that there is pain and there is that restlessness, there is tired, but one has to do it for the sake of creation of knowledge. Nor blear-eyed wisdom out of midnight's while, O chestnut tree. Now he had questioned, because now he wanted to conclude his poem here, that he has questioned about the tree. It is a chestnut tree, just like a simple tree. The tree rooted blossomer, it is also a blossomer. No? We are very happy to see a tree that is growing. Are you the leaf, the blossom, or the bowl? So now he has raised three questions. Certain questions he has raised. That what is tree? Whether the leaf is tree? No, leaf is not the tree only. Whether the blossom is tree? The flower is the tree? No, flower is also not the tree. Then the bowl is the tree. Whether it is the stem is the tree. Whether it the fruit is the tree. What do you mean by tree? What is the tree? So tree, at last he has concluded. So here you can assimilate the all ideas of the author that he has discussed in his poem. That he was talking about the pain of mothers, he was talking about the scholars, that he has taken so much pain to study. So that's why he has also talked about the beauty and handsome face of his life. And he has also talked about this aging process, that even this handsome face one day destroys. So now he wanted to conclude it. So what is life? The beautiful face is the life. The beautiful face of a soft girl is the life. Or the ugly face of the same girl, is this the life? Once he was very youth and very happy and very handsome. That was the life? Or now this is the present age that he has grown so old Now he has developed wrinkled skin, he has lost his teeth, he has lost his eyesight. Whether this is the life? So that's why he wanted to conclude it, asking certain questions about the tree. That what is the tree? Whether the leaf is the tree, or flower is the tree, or its a stem is the tree, or its fruits is the tree. What is the tree? The tree is the combination of all these things. No? So this is the life also. O chestnut tree, great rooted blossomer, are you the leaf, the blossoms, or the bowl? O body swayed to music, O brightening glance, how can we know the dancer from the dancer? Dancer from the dance. So now he concluded in that way. He actually the combination of leaves, flowers, and bowls and the stems, this is called tree. In the same way, human life, this beauty, this ugliness, this pain, this beauty, happiness, including all these, this is life. So we have not to be unhappy to think that once we were very handsome or we were very beautiful, but now everything is lost. No, nothing is lost. Now he has concluded in the last two lines that, oh body swayed to music, oh brightening glance, you become very happy while watching a dance, a music, after listening a music. You quite happy, you feel happiness. But what goes behind the music? There are tremendous practice that demands whole night practice. No? Continue practice and practice. How a dancer practiced his dance? There goes different days he engages himself in practicing and learning the art of dancing. But when the performance you used to see, you become very happy that you cannot actually know the pain of a dancer. You cannot separate a dancer from his dance. You like dance, you appreciate the performing art, but you cannot imagine the problems, you cannot imagine the pain that he might have felt while practicing. Nobody sees it. No? Behind the curtain, nobody goes and sees the practice. We used to watch and enjoy the dance or the music. We are very happy once perform very good or very well, but we don't know that what practices he might have undergone in his life. So further, at last he says that dancer cannot be separated from dance. So now this is the life. There is soft face, there is beautiful face, there is attraction, there is enchanting eyes, there is fair blonde face, fair skin, but at the same time there is oldhood, there is a wrinkled face, there is white hairs, there is the loss of teeth, there is the loss of eyesight. This is life, and including all these, this is life. So we have not to be unhappy thinking that we are old. We have to perform well in our life, and this is life. We have not to repent on our life. No. In that way, he concludes his idea that this is the life.